suspense is killing us. Ready? Not ready. Welcome to our kitchen this afternoon on Kitchen Conversations Q&A. I have my lovely friend Tenina Holder here, and we're going to be talking about food positivity. So we're just going to have a chat amongst ourselves, and please feel free to join in and ask us questions or comment as we go along. Lovely to know that people are watching us live.
I hope so.
Yes, it'd be lovely. Tanina's going to check on her
cool.
Insiders Club, and we're on our Cooks Collective membership as well. So should I just give them a little bit of background on why we decided on this one?
Yes.
Because Tenina and I were talking the other day, or a few weeks ago, probably months ago now, isn't it?
Yeah, probably.
Gosh, time flies when you're having fun. And we were talking about food positivity and how food has changed, and the concept of what's good for us, what's not good for us, how we really decide on what food choices to make.
And it's very confusing, and how it changes all the time, and what was in, a year ago is no longer in, and so on.
Yes. So we decided to make our kitchen conversations this month about food positivity, and just discuss about some things that we feel perhaps have gone maybe a little bit squiffy, and hopefully we need to get back on track, and just have a little bit more enjoyment of food rather than
making it a punishment.
That
breaks my heart that people do that, actually. That they make food a regime or something really strict and very limited, and they hate certain things, or they can't have this and they can't have that. It's like, oh, you're missing out on so much glory. We're so lucky in this country with all of the available food that we have, and the provenance of it, and where how the stuff that we did earlier today, all the amazing products that we have available to us, and then people are limiting themselves because they're on this diet or that diet, or this this version of eating, or whatever, this plan, that plan.
I think so when you talk about that, I think maybe for a diet, the word diet, I'm on a diet, has changed somewhat, and people are now using diet as in an everyday thing, like your everyday diet. But that doesn't necessarily mean to restrict yourself, does it? Like my diet consists of a wide range of
everything.
Yes. That's what we were saying. Both of us as teachers of food, cooking, life. We both enjoy life hugely. I mean, look at our hair colour. If we didn't, then we'd be
party on the outside.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I'm. One of my mantras is like, I'll try anything once, but I will. I'll eat anything just to try it, to experience it. I used to say to my children, please try this, because mummy's not going to poison you. She loves you very much, and she's giving you food that's good for you. So they did start to trust me as well, because I told them what was in the food. Sometimes it's really hard, isn't it, when a child goes, I don't like green things, and you say, oh, there's zucchini in this spaghetti bolognese, and then they won't eat it.
Yeah, and they wouldn't have known otherwise had you not told them.
So it's really tricky, and it depends on how your children are
and the stage
listening.
that you're in as well, isn't it? Like,
definitely.
When they're little versus when they're teenagers and so on, it changes a lot over the period of raising the little darlings.
So can you define food positivity?
I've thought about this because we talked about it, and I think what it is that you look at what you can have and think about food in a positive way, rather than thinking about what you can't have. So, we know allergies are, crazy. There's so many allergies to food out there now, and obviously a lot of them are life-threatening.
Oh, so we totally understand that.
Yes,
totally understand.
But don't focus on what you can't have. Rather, more focus on what you can have, and seek out what you can have, and enjoy it, and find it, and go. Go for it. There's just so many options available to us these days. I think we've got every eating plan, protocol, whatever that's out there, but some of those I think are quite limiting and quite negative in a way, and social media helps that along, hugely. I get really saddened by some of the social media posts
Well,
that
you
you
were saying
see.
about New Year's Day.
Yes, so actually on New Year's Day, I think I got about probably 30 emails about diet plans for the new year, New Year's resolution, eating plans, and so on, and it just kind of did my head in, and I thought I'm sick of this, and so I actually sent an email out about food positivity and about how I feel about food and eating and so on to my group, to my subscriber base, and I have never had such a reaction as I had. I found that so many people feel the same way. Normally I get, please unsubscribe me, or I didn't know where that recipe was, can you tell me where it is thing. That's the kind of responses I get. I don't get an outpouring of support like I did, which was really encouraging, and that kind of started me. I mean, I've always had this feeling, I just didn't have a name for it, I guess. And so that kind of started me on the road to thinking, okay, what am I going to do to increase the food positivity in my following, or amongst the people that read what I write or whatever. So we are putting out food positivity posts all the time. Every day we've got one going up, and it's just a quote from someone, or just a funny or
That's
whatever.
fantastic, because somebody somewhere, it's going to click for them, isn't it?
I hope so.
Aha!
Yes.
So that is really phenomenal.
And look, I've got I've
brilliant.
got 5 children. When I wasn't eating, I was reproducing. And
Gosh,
so
I feel inadequate. I've only got 2.
and then they have all got partners. They're all married now, and some of them have got children. And I watched them and the dynamic as the daughters-in-law came on board, or I've only got one daughter, so I've only got one son-in-law, and he eats everything, bless him. But seeing the dynamic of how they are with their children and what their children will eat, won't eat, and so on, and seeing the pressures that they have on them as as social media sort of interferes with what they think is right or wrong, has been quite an interesting thing to watch. And I've always tried to accommodate everybody. When we have family dinners, I make sure there's healthy desserts. Is there such a thing? In my book, just eat a piece of cheesecake and just one. Just have one piece.
We'll just have one. That's the clever part, isn't it? Is stopping at one. But I'm with you. Let's use the real McCoy. Let's not use low-fat cream or anything like that. You're going to have a beautiful experience.
And don't have dessert. Like, really,
don't
hurt yourself with dessert. Don't make dessert a punishment.
No.
That does my head in. That's so sad. Like, just have dessert. Just have a little bit, though. Have one cookie. Like, make the cookies, but just have one. Don't eat the whole batch.
Yeah.
I really did say that.
I know. I'm like, the next kitchen conversation is going to be how to just have just the one.
Look, I used to move a lot. I was a real gym junkie when I was a young mum, and I was at the gym at 9:15. The house was clean. My kids were in the creche, and like we were good to go, And I could eat anything back then, but I didn't, because I was afraid of food, because I was afraid of what it would do to me, and I wanted to be skinny, and I wanted to be whatever. And look, it's so sad, now in hindsight. I look back at those photos and think, what on earth was I thinking? And I think every woman will think that through their life. There'll be a point where you look back at, I know you gorgeous young things don't think so, but one day you'll look back and go, why did I ever think there was anything wrong with that? And why didn't I have the flippin' cookie?
Well, that's, when you were saying that, I was looking back, thinking, actually, no, I've never been like super skinny or gorgeous or anything like that. And my legs are, as my dad used to say, he used to say about his legs, that they were short but beautifully formed. And he did. He had really great legs. But I've just got the short bit. Mine aren't even beautifully formed.
I'm sure Rembrandt would think otherwise.
Well, exactly. Yes. We were talking about Rembrandt. Not that we're going to go down that route and sort of perhaps too much information. But looking back on, I thought that my body wasn't good enough, wasn't right. But now, looking back, I think, oh my gosh, I was actually quite gorgeous, really.
Yes.
And then, just your human biology, clock changing, all of that sort of stuff, things do change. And I am doing a lot of work on being mindful about things. And I know it sounds a bit cliched and what have you, but it's so much more fun if you stop and you really appreciate the beautiful things, like hello, how lucky are we to have a glass of water? that we can actually drink out of the tap without having to worry about it too much.
In this world.
But you know, it is really gorgeous, and we take these things for granted. Breathing, take it for granted. I've been doing it all day, haven't you?
Yeah.
And last night,
I think so.
in our sleep. So to be more mindful about things as well, I think helps with your eating, because instead of now, and it takes a while, does not happen overnight, but it takes a while to go, actually, I do only need the one. And I heard myself saying the other day, when I was a little bit stressed, I get a little bit overwhelmed with all the stuff that I need to do within a very short space of time. And so I find myself heading to the cupboard over there, which houses our beautiful couverture, cooking chocolate.
Oh, does it?
And just
which cupboard was that?
now. And just grabbing it. And what I've discovered is, as I'm grabbing a handful of that chocolate, in my head I go, I don't care. I don't care if this puts on extra weight on another little dimple on my bottom. I don't care. And then afterwards, guess what? I do care. So I'm now starting to hear myself saying, I don't care, and saying, hang on a minute.
You do.
I do actually care, because I want to get back to running. I want to, because I feel better. I feel better, but I think that's the thing about only having the one.
And also, it's not about just indulging yourself. Food positivity is not about saying, okay, yes to everything and all of it. It's about actually, like you're saying, being mindful and saying, okay, well, 80% of the time I'm going to be very conscious of my choices, and when I go out, it's okay.
Oh, totally.
You know? And then, like, you and I both eat for a living, which is a little bit challenging.
But it has its absolute bonuses, as we were saying earlier, that we don't cook the same thing week in, week out, month in, month out, because we're always testing new recipes. And like also brownies, the same. Like, we've just tested a beautiful Malay curry for one of our midweek cooking meals, and Bry's
wasn't on the leftover list.
No, it wasn't on the leftover list. And Bry said she's putting in more vegetables and not so much meat. So we discussed the amount of meat per person to make this curry for 6 people, etc., etc. And we got loads of veggies in it. You still get your meat, but vegetables fill you up so much as well. And oh my goodness, what an amazing array that we have available to us, and beautiful, fresh, local produce that actually tastes really good.
Actually, I had a really interesting conversation with Drop. So Drop recipe platform is an app, and it's something that I'm adding recipes to all the time, and they're based in Ireland, and we had to have a meeting with Ireland, and they've got an office in San Francisco, and they're trying to understand the food culture of Australia. And so I just had this conversation with them last week, and it was a really interesting question, and it kind of threw me a bit, because I thought, you know, what is our food culture in Australia? And I think our food culture is literally everything, and it's maybe influenced heavily by Asian foods, and also now more Middle Eastern, because we're getting that input from our immigration happening, and also heavily Italian, I think, as well, because we've got a large Italian population from it
really is from
generations
ago.
Really, and the good thing about the good thing about Australia is that we've got every ingredient and everything fresh to us, which is phenomenal. I don't think you get that anywhere in the world. Almost, we're very, very fortunate in that way. So again, it comes back to, like, why limit yourself to a certain way of eating, or just a limited little range of foods, when we have such an array. Don't do that to yourself,
Now, who were we talking about this to the other day, talking about it? Oh, Jamie Copeland, when he came in, a market gardener from Pemberton, and he said, if you pick something up in the shops and it has a label and you have to read the ingredients, it's probably best to put it down. And this is where we come in, because don't buy mayonnaise. You can make it with cobram olive oil, and you can light olive oil and some beautiful, beautiful ingredients, and you've got a mayonnaise that is much better for you, because, as you said, you can make a cake at home. Like, I made a beautiful upside down fig cake with almonds, and yes, it had sugar in it, and yes, it had butter in it, but it was unsalted butter with a pinch of Murray River salt flakes and an almond meal, and oh my gosh, it was absolutely divine. But if you go out and buy a cake, You have
and
to
there's
read
no
the
pleasure
ingredients.
either in that, like as much as we're time poor, I know everybody is time poor, but there's no pleasure in sharing a piece of bought cake. There's something of it.
But there is a guilt there.
Yes,
just
exactly.
As you said that.
And so then what does that do to your
Like, oh my gosh, I've
gut?
gone out and I've bought a cake.
Yes.
I bought a cake to eat.
Yeah.
There's no, I think it's possibly because there's no work, like you haven't
There's no
given
love
anything.
in it. There's no love in it.
You haven't given anything
Yeah.
to actually make that cake, even though that almond cake takes about 7 minutes. I think loads of people have made it who came to the classes already, because I keep getting little messages on Facebook. Just made the cake, because it's so quick and easy to make. Now it is definitely is not a hard cake to make, but it's like, how do we then tell people how do we get it out there enough so that enough people can actually see that and go, hey, I could do that cake, because you melt the butter and you add it in and you stir in your almonds and you put it in the oven.
Done.
It's done. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
So how are you actually implementing your food positivity in your life and your work?
Yeah, so we cook twice a week, like 2 days a week in the kitchen for photos and so on. Which is awesome, because it's just me and my husband now, and so I kind of plan the menus ahead of time based on what is required. Like if we've got a project on, then obviously we're going to be shooting for that project, and sometimes we get lucky and we have dinner for a week organised, and other times it's like, oh sorry, it's just cereal again, you know. So I do try and look at the balance of everything, which actually makes it very balanced in what's going up on my website or in other places, because I'm looking at the balance of what I don't want to cook all week if I've got someone there cooking for me on and she should be at home right now, she might be watching. And so I am trying to implement it throughout all of the things that we're creating. And then I don't buy ingredients. I don't buy a base ingredient. Very often it'll be like, oh well, we've already got that recipe, so let's make that first and then add that to the so all of my recipes are linked through to other ingredients, if you like. So we've always done it, but now we have a name for it. The food positivity thing has a name. And the other thing I'm doing, even with my grandkids and stuff, is just talking with them about food in not that they're old enough to really get it, to be honest.
No, they do. I reckon they do. Don't even before they can talk.
Yeah.
I really
I've got a little eater, a little mini me, who's she'll eat anything, and it's just so rewarding to go with her. She's the one that's in Europe, and so when we go see them, she just loves to go and eat, and it's just like the joy on her face of having something put in front of her is just priceless, and that's what I want. That's what I want my grandkids to feel and grow up in, that world of like, wow, look at this. This is so yummy.
If you get excited about the small things, like we have so many small things happen to us in our life, let's get excited about those little things and we'll live a joyous life, won't we?
Exactly.
No,
but it's true. Yeah, it's true. I think
in a good fun way.
Yeah, I want them to, when they come to my home, which is, not that often because they're all over the place, but when they do, I want them to remember that Grandy made great food for them, and that they
Grandy showed me, like, when the tomatoes are really red, when they're really red,
come and pick the apples with us, or
that's
whatever.
When they taste really great.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, all of that stuff.
And I think that's such a precious thing. And I think also, I can't wait until I'm a grandmother, but not quite yet. But I'm 21. So, and I really am looking forward to cooking with my grandchildren as well, because I love all sorts of different cooking and different, trying different things and making savoury things as fun to cook as sweet things. And I know that we always go and we cook sweet stuff with the kids because it's stirring and there's nothing hot on the stove, so they can't burn themselves or anything like that. But there's still ways we can do it. I mean, we teach 10 to 16-year-olds here cooking. We've got our kids classes coming up tomorrow, and I get really excited about it, because in here I don't know what it is about parents, because my kids were the same, are like, I really think you should eat this and I don't like it or whatever. But here, because there are a number of people, number of kids who, like your granddaughter, love food, the other kids see them really enjoying it, going, oh, So instead of being at school with a lunchbox and you open the lunchbox and it's got something interesting in it and someone goes, "Poor, that smells," or "Oh, you got green things in there," you know, that's where children pick up this sort of negativity about, like, I'm not going to have any friends, Mum, if I have a smelly lunchbox. You know, it's really sad, isn't it? Really sad. But there's stuff coming at us from all
so
over
many
the
messages,
place,
so
and
many
no
messages.
matter how old you are, whether you're as young and gorgeous as we are, whether you're really old or whether you're really young, you know, it's a tough word to negotiate, isn't it?
Yeah, filter out all the rubbish, and that's what I'm saying. Like, go find the stuff you can have. Don't focus on what you can't have, because that I think that reacts that negative thought is what we're saying.
Brain,
makes
gut.
you, you know, closes you down and makes you tense and anxious, and then eating is not a pleasure because you're busy thinking, oh, has that got anything in it? I'm not even kidding. I'll tell you this story. I'm hoping she's not watching and she might know who she is. But anyway, so I'm in a class. I was doing a cooking class.
Yes.
Well,
a friend of yours was doing a cooking class.
Yes, a friend of mine was doing a cooking class. And this lady literally got up from her seat, which was like the far end, you know, away, and she walked all the way around the bench without any kind of, you know,
explanation.
No, nothing. And she just grabbed the sauce out of my hand, like a soy or something, to check what was in it, because she didn't want to eat whatever it was. It was probably gluten, I imagine. I can't remember.
Okay.
And I was so stunned, and so was everybody else. We all kind of went, and like, really, that whole class turned into what she could have and what she couldn't have. You know, like it became very focused on that, because I was worried about, you know, ambulance out the front's a bad look of a cooking class. And I just was very concerned about, you know, and I'm always concerned, and you would be the same.
Absolutely.
Like, you always make sure we have options and so on. But, you know, like that, it sort of became quite a negative experience, that whole, that
I think
feeling.
in groups it can as well. Just one person
Because then
says
suddenly it was
something
all
and then,
saying what they couldn't have, what they couldn't eat.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, wow, this is just, you know, like, it was sad, because I like to give people a great food experience, a fun food experience.
Exactly, enjoyable.
Yeah.
What you can do, like,
and
you can do
ideas
this,
and
not
inspiration
what you
and-
can't do. Or
Yeah,
what
and
you
if you
eat.
can't eat that, well, don't worry, just swap that out and use this. You know, I've got lots of ideas.
But
You've
the
got
other
lots of
thing,
ideas.
very quickly about, because we'll take some questions in a minute as well. The other thing about intolerances and allergies is that, yes, it is real for a lot of people out there, and we totally understand that. But I have a lot of people saying, how can I make that cake gluten-free, or how can I make that bread gluten-free? So something with gluten in it, with flour in it, how can I make that gluten-free? And I'm now saying to people, steer clear of the gluten-free flours, because they are so much more refined than wheaten flour is. And I get that you can't, you know, that's not digestible for you, and it hurts you, or it's going to cause you severe uncomfortableness, or even, you know, severe illness if you eat it. If you're celiac and you carry on eating gluten, it's bad news. But don't try and find a bread substitute.
No.
Go for crackers that you can have with linseeds and almonds, and, you know, like, you make some amazing crackers out there.
And you won't feel left out,
But
and you won't feel
unfortunately,
punished.
we can't make all these, you know, if people have got gluten-free things, you're out at a market and there's a gluten-free stall, go for it, you know. But at home, try and keep it to whole foods that have not been processed quite so much. And I think you'd be on the right track then if you shop locally. You've got a good butcher, a fishmonger that you talk to. Where's the fish from? You know, it just gets you so much more
involved in the process, isn't it?
And it's really precious, really precious. So, not sure, have you got any questions?
I've only got, I'm here thinking positively. Good on you, Jenny.
Oh, darling.
That's so cute.
Done.
And then someone said, you're both still gorgeous. That was Natalie. Yeah, we love you too, Natalie. And I don't know if we've got any other questions, but there are people watching.
But it's just, you know,
ask us a question, guys. Ask us anything.
I guess, you know, that old sort of thing, it gives you food for thought about how you do think about things. And in a very jam-packed life that we lead, and we do, and there are messages coming at us from all areas, it is just smell the roses along the way, and just choose the enjoyment, but think about I remember when years ago, one thing that when I went aha to that thing was at I can't remember what sort of diet thing it was, but I was probably in my, I don't know, late 30s or something, after I'd had the kids or something, and I went to a diet thing for about 2 weeks. And they said, what you eat in private shows in public. And I was like, oh my gosh. But that's so true, because I'm a bit like, I'm not very good at just having the one. I'm not very good at just having the one. So hence I'm trying to train my brain, or I am training my brain. I feel, better about my food choices now. But not giving myself the guilt trip. I am thinking about it positively, because it's better for my body, and I can feel it in my body.
Exactly. Yeah.
Be aware of how you're feeling after you've eaten things. Because some people go, I don't know what it is, but I just don't feel good. Maybe it's what you're eating, but it's like you need to eat for you.
And it affects everything. It affects your mood, it affects your
brain fuzz. The cameraman gets brain fuzz a lot, so not so much now, because he's laughing. Because not so much now, because he's learning what gives him brain fuzz and what doesn't. And gosh, talk about strong determination to feel better.
To change that, because you can. Yeah. Because food is your medicine as well.
I think it's a brilliant thing to think of it like that. Not crazy food is medicine, I've got to eat everything. But as you say, when you go out and have a dessert, life's too short.
If you make a lemon tart, just eat one piece. My lemon tart's to die for. Is it?
I haven't had your lemon tart. We were just saying earlier that when we're a bit sort of like, oh, what are we going to cook this week? We'll look up our own recipes. So it's really nice though, isn't it? We know that they're going to work, and we know that they taste really great. So that's nice that we don't sort of go somewhere else.
Don't need to go somewhere else.
No,
but we've got it all.
Sometimes when you're creating all these recipes all the time, I'll look in the fridge and I'll go, oh, I can make that, and just chuck it together with that recipe. But if I'm really sort of thinking, what do I fancy this week, then we've got a massive array of recipes that we trust and we can go to. And a lot of people don't have that in their lives, do they?
No,
Unless they're
they
recipe
do, because
testers.
they're part of us.
Well, that's right.
So there
not
you
you people out there, definitely not included, because you've got loads of them. But a lot of people don't. So we are pretty lucky like that, aren't we? We are pretty lucky. Well, thank you very much for coming in today. And that's fine. We'll probably get questions afterwards. And it may be something that people want to talk about with their family or with their best buddy or whatever. But I think we've all probably been through something or experienced food negativity, like don't eat potatoes. I was going to mention those, because potatoes are not that bad, but just don't eat them 7 days a week. Yeah. That's all it is.
And how good are potatoes?
How good are potatoes? The purple ones, the pink ones.
Yeah, I love them.
Oh, delicious, aren't they?
So many ways to eat them.
So
it's like the other veggies aren't even trying.
I don't know. Mushrooms are pretty.
Oh, mushrooms! I love
really
mushrooms.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
I know. We should just have a veggie talk. Vegetables. But thank you for coming in.
Thanks
really
for having
appreciated it. It's been lovely to chat again. We could probably go on for days.
We could,
couldn't we?
Yeah.
Really, but
everyone would leave us. But
but there's some chocolate mousse in the fridge that we just have to have one of now. So we're going to sign off.
Share one.
They're massive.
If you didn't watch the Facebook Live video earlier, it'll be up later. But
get on there and have a look at that beautiful chocolate mousse. But share it with friends. It's a good idea.
Have a great Easter, guys.
Happy Easter, everyone.
Yeah, eat lots of chocolate. Well, no, just eat a little
just have
piece.
the one.
This is your get out of jail free card. Eat chocolate week.